So we recently got a Games Workshop announcement of a narrative campaign called the 500 Worlds. The face of this void ship is Titus from the Space Marine 2 games, the 500 Worlds being a reference to his genefathers' empire. Titus in this lore will be facing a Necron destroyer cult, led by a new character who is trying to bring back a full Satan. So I thought I could fill you and myself in on the destroyer cult and who the head of it is trying to bring back. First, let's set the scene with a brief read from the article before we examine that deeper background. Times are dire in the Imperium, so much so that even Ultramar is hard-pressed, and with Roboute Guilliman busy overseeing the Indomitus Crusade, the defence of the 500 Worlds falls to his people. While others push out to reclaim its lost borders, one illustrious captain is tasked with securing its critical interior, a task made ever more difficult when a terrifying spectre of the lost Necron empire returns to plague the galaxy. That man of the hour is Captain Demetrian Titus, Master of the Watch. He'll face a malign presence that now moves with great haste towards the worlds of Ultramar, bringing bloodthirsty hordes of robotic destroyers in its wake. Even other Necrons fear its passage, and to them it is known by one name, Necron is thought by many to be the genesis of the destroyer cult, and by others to be entirely mythological, a parable of guilt and betrayal that harkens back to the shattering of the Satan. Strangely, all memories of its origin appear to have been forcibly removed from the collective Necron psyche, though only the Silent King has the authority to make such sweeping modifications. Amanta is very real, however, and labours with surprising lucidity on its crusade to eradicate all life from the galaxy. It harbours an extreme affinity for the Satan known as the Nightbringer, and aims to reunite its scattered shards to one day revive the ancient star god in full. Just the presence of Amanta can corrupt minds of Necrons from warriors to lords. So first, what are the Necron Destroyer cult, and who rules them? According to the Necron 8th edition codex, they are ruled by Destroyer Lords, and it sounds like Necrosor Amanta falls into this category. They are the most maniacal of their kind. This is chiefly because they retain far more intellect than baseline destroyers, and can bring all of this fearsome intellect to bear in their pursuit of galactic conquest. This efficiency is all the more murderous for the Destroyer Lord's complete lack of empathy. While few Necrons retain any instinctive comprehension of guilt and mercy, the cleverest amongst them can still grasp such concepts intellectually. Not so Destroyer Lords. They have long ago discarded any ability to empathise with other characters. If a Destroyer Lord takes prisoners, it is not out honour or pity, but simply efficiency. There are 1,000 ways in which captives can be used as lures for other fleshlings, and Destroyer Lords are conversant with every last one. In a galaxy full to overspilling, perhaps even with genocidal despots, Destroyer Lords remain worthy of mention as something truly horrific. Those of the Mephrit dynasty, whose culture prizes obliteration above all others, are particularly well known for systematically annihilating entire systems, planet by planet, leaving only corpse-strewn wastelands behind them. Where others kill for pleasure or in service to some malignant god, Destroyer Lords pursue their bloody crusade simply because it is their chosen course. By their calculation, joy is just one more pointless emotion, and the favour of gods naught but a crutch to support the frailties of flesh. In truth, even overlords find Destroyer Lords somewhat disconcerting, believing them to have too willingly embraced the machine. Most also hold the lingering suspicion that when all organic life has been eliminated, their nihilistic brethren will turn on their own kind. As a result, many Destroyer Lords are outcasts. Stripped of rank, they are forced to dwell on the periphery of Necron civilization. The cults themselves are the extension of this concept in brief. Destroyers are deranged agents of annihilation, whose sole reason for existence is centered around an unshakable yearning to quench the flames of life. A destroyer cares not for borders or allegiance, nor does he make any distinction between the innocent and the damned. All life is his enemy, and all living creatures are his prey. Linking back to the Satan, interestingly, the lore states what makes the rise of the destroyers truly disturbing is that they can be found in almost every tomb world, from the poorest fringe world to the noblest of crown worlds. This suggests that the descent into this particular form of badness is driven by a subconscious imperative, possibly one implanted by the Satan during biotransference. Some sort of time bomb installed by the Satan for after their use of the Necron tier, as they once were called, is done. Could Necrosa Amentar be the face of this, the first plague victim? Now onto the Satan, this destroyer. Lord wants to gather back together Azagorod, the Nightbringer, believed to be the source of the destroyer curse. His deal is, in the 3rd edition codex, explained as the following. The very star under which the Necron race lived, their brief morbid lives, gave birth to the vast, sun-spanning energy that was the Nightbringer. In their quest for a weapon with which to defeat the Old Ones, the Necron turned to the mighty, coalescent energy feeding within the photosphere of their star. The first of the Satan to manifest across the incorporeal starlight bridge, the Nightbringer brought with it the curse of death that had plagued the Necron race since their birth. Having fed on the sustaining but flavourless power of a star, the Nightbringer found the Epicurean delights of the Necron awe and fear much more to its liking, and slaughtered those who had brought it into being, feeding on the essence of their terror and suffering. Its appetites knew no bounds, and only with desperate pledges of servitude were the Necron able to convince the creature they had summoned forth that they were yet more races beyond their world that could be feasted upon, species beyond number for its unsustainable hunger, or insubstantial hunger. Soon after the Necron awoke, the power of many more of the star gods, becoming their willing servants in the war against the Old Ones. Like the other star gods, the Nightbringer craved worshippers and slaves, though many of its servants soon descended into murderous insanity, unable to withstand the horrifying, bloodthirsty visions its presence brought on. Weaned in a diet of slaughter, nothing else could satisfy its hunger, and the Nightbringer eagerly threw itself into the war against the Old Ones, laying waste to entire regions of space in the name of its monstrous appetites. And from the 8th edition codex, a little more colour on the Nightbringer. The Nightbringer eagerly threw itself into the war against the Old Ones. As the fighting dragged on and the colossal scale of destruction grew, the Nightbringer became increasingly detached from the cause it had supposedly been fighting for, content merely to destroy and feed at will. Even when the Old Ones were defeated and scoured from the galaxy, the Nightbringer fought on against all living things. It used its power to reach into the minds of the young races and plant the seeds of their darkest fears, nurturing whole species whose entire existence was suffused with the horror of death and mortality. Ultimately, the Nightbringer was undone when its rival, the Deceiver, convinced it that the most succulent feasts were to be had in the living energies of its fellow Satan, and so began a reign of murder as the Nightbringer brought all its power to bear in hunting down its fellow gods. And to wrap up the video, then it suffered the same fate as the other Satan. His form was shattered and placed in various places across the galaxy to power Necron machines. And why would the Nightbringer focus on the worlds of Guilliman? Because a shard was once trapped there. And when I said why would the Nightbringer, I meant this new Necron character. As I said, a shard of the Nightbringer was trapped there in a world that they visited and managed to escape from it. This was against the Space Marine Uriel Ventress, so let's hope he plays a role in this too, so they can see the ties and history in the video. And if you like this video on 40k, then why not try this one?